When the stakes are high, we play the game. In a guy realty, we don't just play the game, we play to win.
Hey, what's up everybody? I am Katima Smith-Willis, your city commissioner here in Frankfort, Kentucky, and I just got to build on something real. Thank you for having me. Like you said, my name's Katima Smith-Willis. 29 for the record. I like to put that out there. 29 for the record. Yeah, I mean, I'm here and it's been a journey to get here to this part of my life. But I guess just to kick it off, how did I get here? How did I get started? You know, in 2020, that was a really, what's the word I want to use? Pivotal time for all of us, I think. I think we were all kind of going through the motions of just life itself, and then you want to throw a pandemic into the middle of it, and then, you know, we're all just questioning what's our purpose, what's going on, all the things. And so not to just, you know, keep it subsurface level with the pandemic, you know, we were dealing with a lot of social injustices, police brutality, racism, like we already deal with, but it was just super magnified, if you ask me. So Breonna Taylor, you know, I don't think we have to dive too deep into that topic, but she was somebody that really I felt somewhat connected to when she was murdered. It made me question a lot of things about myself being a black woman. I might not be in Louisville, but I'm in Frankfort, Kentucky, so I'm still in the scope of the good Commonwealth of Kentucky. So, you know, Breonna Taylor really kind of sparked a little fire under my little tail. And so she kind of was the tipping point for me, because Trayvon Martin always he like stays in the back of my mind, always in hindsight, because that was the first thing I've ever encountered being black in America that made me question, what are we, like, you know, what's going on? It opened up a whole thing for me. But I grew up a Jehovah's Witness, so I never was political, never was, I just kind of stayed like in a little bubble, kind of growing up. So Trayvon Martin was like, this is wrong, why is this wrong, so and so, go through the years, and then Breonna Taylor happens. So, you know, with that, I was just tired of being a keyboard warrior. I was tired of looking for answers that were already there. I didn't want to reinvent the wheel. I just wanted to figure out where my place was in terms of turning the wheel. So I was at home. I'll never forget. I was at home, you know, we're all locked in, beers with Andy at 5:30, all the things. I had quite a few beers and maybe a little bit of bourbon. And I was like, I am so tired of watching the news. I lived with my mom at the time, full disclosure. I was just like spiraling. And I was like, I don't want to watch TV anymore. I don't want to make another damn status about Black Lives Matter, which for the record, they do. But I was tired of just typing it. # Black Lives Matter. What the hell is this doing? So I just Googled Martin Luther King Jr. and, like, you know, what all did he do? What was his part of turning the wheel? What did he do other than I had the dream speech? So I found out he came to Frankfort, and he came to Frankfort with some really big dogs. And then we got Senator George Davis Powers already here, Jackie Robinson, and they all marched from the area that downtown Frankfort, what we call it, all the way to the Capitol, because there were things happening in the legislature that, you know, he felt compelled to come to Kentucky to march for and to try to change their minds. So I was like, this happened in Frankfort. Really cool, really cool. Learned a lot of cool facts about it. But I was like, how can I replicate this, but modernize it? Not modernize it, because the same stuff they were marching for is very similar to what we still are marching for, but that's beside the point. So I hit up some friends, some really awesome friends, really dope friends. Natalie Cleveland, Jordan Smith-Willis, shout out to my baby daddy. Jordan Smith-Willis, Barbara Petty, Trish Freeman, Eric Jarbo, his wife. There were a lot of people outside of just that scope. We planned a march. I think I went live on Facebook. I was like, all right, I'm tired of doing this. What can I do? So they all kind of just sprung into action, and we planned a march in 4-5 days. I have never done anything like this in my life. Like, if you know me from like Frankfort, just like growing up, I've always been kind of like a wild card. I was like really bad in school. I've always had like a little mouth on me, all the things. But I never really had like a place in Frankfort, you know. I didn't really play sports. I think I played volleyball for a semester, but I was bad. So I got suspended, got expelled, all the things. So yeah, I just never really, I had an identity. I knew I was Katima. I knew I was Kelly and Mitchell's daughter. I knew I had 2 awesome brothers, but really didn't know my place in Frankfort. So, you know, when we were planning this thing, I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I watched Martin Luther King walk across the Capitol Avenue Bridge with all these cool people. And I was like, I want to do the same thing, but I want to bring it to the messaging that we need to get across to America now, to Kentucky. And so, yeah, we met at the coffee shop for 3 days straight. Also, it's the pandemic, so sorry, because we were not practicing social distancing. we were like in a little bubble, like, what should we do about this? What should we do about that? I think we sent Andy a letter in the mail just saying, like, hey, we're doing this on this day. The mayor at the time was Bill May. I called and asked for his blessing because he's like, you really shouldn't be doing this. Really couldn't get like a city permit because the world was shut down. Like, there was nothing, none of us knew what to do. But I just called to ask for permission because I did want to go about it the right way. I saw what was going around in Kentucky, but I wanted to try to do it right for my small community. So I was like, I can't get a permit, but what can I do? And he called me, left a voicemail. He's like, I love what you're trying to do. You know, just be safe. And so within those 4 days, we try to figure out how to police our own people without being the police. And so we did get to talk with the sheriff's department, KSP, all these things. And then it led up to the day on June 5th. And we thought, you know, we use social media for our platform to try to get the word out, word of mouth. You know, we're going to do all these things, practice social distance, wear a mask, blah, blah, blah. And we just didn't know what the outcome was going to be. Yeah. I just knew I was going to the Capitol to at least bring awareness to the fact that Breonna Taylor was murdered. George Floyd was murdered. Police brutality is a thing. Take race, take parties away. This happens. This has been happening for years, since Jim Crow. So I want you all to know in Frankfort, this is what I care about. And so that's kind of where my identity kind of came from, and my place in spinning the wheel of history, I would like to say. So a lot of people turned out. I think it was like 4,000 something people.
Jeez.
We like cried at the end. Andy came out. We didn't know he was gonna come. It was a wild time for me. Jefferson Davis got announced that he's coming out the Capitol. We're like, oh my God. And it's really nostalgic to think about, because now it catapulted me into this place of, you know, my seat as a commissioner is not my identity. I think I took this seat, I absorbed this seat, not for me, but for the people that voted for me. And so it was already a question at the time of when I did the March on Frankfort, you should run for office. No. I just yelled really loudly, F the police. They not gonna vote for me right now. They're not gonna vote for me. Y'all really probably shouldn't vote for me yet. Like, let me grow up a little bit. And not to say what I said was immature of me, because I have said a lot of things. I also did go protest in Louisville. I met some really dope friends in Louisville protesting. Still to this day, fellow advocates and activists that are in the march, but a lot of us ran for office. A lot of us, you know, you can be cool all day long and do some hashtags on social media. You can do a lot of great things. The fight has a lot of different levels to it, but sometimes you got to figure out that next move, and the move has to be intentional and not just stay behind the screen. And so it felt good to be able to put my name, take some time after the March on Frankfort. I dabbled in, you know, sit on a couple boards, did a lot of research, went to school, started school. I'm going to finish school at some point in my life. We're not going to talk about that. But got in school for political science, just kind of did my basic research on city government, local government, federal government, all the things. And I just was like, all right, let's just see what happens. Yeah. So I went and filed to run for office last year.
Whoop, whoop.
I think it was last year. Times are just kind of like doing this now. You have to have like somebody go with you to sign with you, and then you have to have like people to petition to like put your name on the thing. And so that's what I did. So I asked like my solid group of friends, but then people were like, can we go with you? And so I went like kind of deep to the clerk's office and I filled my page out. Every signature line, if not more, had people's names on it. So that was like, I filed the last day too. I was like, I went back and forth. I was like, do I want to do this? Do I not want to do this? This is crazy. What if I win? Because that was my thing. Yeah. Was like, not what if I lose? What if I win? What am I going to do with this seat? And I came out the gate and I won my seats for everybody that voted for me. So I'm here, 2-year term. 2-year term. We're in the thick of it. We are about to start campaigning again. So starting in January, I have to refile again by January. So 2-year term. I don't really like the terms, but that's a much bigger conversation. So call your representative, Erica Hancock, and let her know we want longer terms, because 2 years is just so quick. You're still just trying to like figure out what am I even doing, you know? I know you all interviewed Patricia, and a lot of things that she spoke on was the things that they all worked for on that board of commission. And so now here's me and Commissioner Richardson, you know, we're the newbies on the commission, which the commission is fantastic. I don't know if people watch the commission meetings. I encourage you to watch the city commission meetings. But we have a pretty solid group right now. We are really big grown-ups. We have conversations outside of just waiting until regular meeting days, work meeting days. We just talk. We have conversations. We get to kind of know each other, but also like the decisions that we're about to make, is this good for the community and not just good for ourselves and our seats. So, you know, I'm just kind of casting my vote for things that the past commissions have already put in motion. Some of the things I might not always agree on, but some of the things, they're like dead in the middle of a project, you know, so I want to keep things moving. That was one of the reasons why I ran, was because I've always noticed the previous commissions being stagnant and doing things just for the optics of things. And so I really wanted to just get in my seat. Let's just get it moving, because I feel like local government is already slow. Adding in the drama, the pride, the egos, I think that slows it up even more. So I just want to hop in my seat, get it going, and then what's to come from me, you know, the world may never know. But as of right now, I'm happy to be on the Affordable Housing Committee. That's a huge topic for Frankfort, Kentucky, is just affordable housing. I'm not a pro, I'm not a guru at it. I don't have all the answers, which is what I told everybody when I was running for office. I didn't make no promises. My promise was I'll listen and I'll learn. It's the most I can do this first term. So I'm on the Affordable Housing Committee. I'm on the Public Works and Infrastructure Committee. So bridges. These damn bridges. That's how I feel about it. These damn bridges. the bridges. But we have to pour into our infrastructure, or we won't have anything. Right. So, you know, it's been really fun to learn about those kind of things. It's hard to take in. I feel like I'm drinking from a water hose, but we're here and we're doing it. So I'm excited about what's to come from what I learned for this term, and then the possibilities of the next term.
Well, I tell you what, I'm glad you've had the courage to do it too, because a lot of people complain but don't do anything about it.
Yes.
So for that, I got to give you flowers for that.
Thank you.
I've never even thought about it, and I'm sure a lot of people that you know never thought about it. But another question I have for you, or is, what are some of the key initiatives or visions that you have for Frankfort's future?
Key initiatives, and even my vision, you know, it's not really mine. I think it's the people that talk to me when I'm walking downtown Frankfort to go get my buddy's pizza. Or stop me, Katima, I gotta talk to you. I'm listening. I get my little notes out. You know, some of those visions and key initiatives are kind of what Frankfort is built on, with our core values, which is sustainability, transparency, things as such. I think even if I'm not in my seat, one of the main things that I want to keep in the vision and the scope and the growth of Frankfort is really just the transparency aspect of it. You know, I could sit here and tell you all day long, I hope Frankfort continues to be inclusive to our LGBTQ plus community. I hope that Frankfort continues to pour into a quality police force. You know, I can tell you all these things, but I think transparency kind of covers that whole scope. Because you talk about politics, you talk about transparency, it's kind of like, what is it? Is it oil and water that don't really like mix well together? Politics and transparency, they don't mix well together. So I don't want to answer the question in terms of me. I want to answer the questions in terms of the people that bring things to me. And I really think that's all everybody ever asks about, you know, in the comments on Facebook when shit hits the fan. Everybody's having secret meetings and all these things. And I'm like, I'm not saying that there are secret meetings. What I am saying is the things that we talk about behind closed doors, things that we talk about even in the meetings, the things that we talk about when we're being interviewed, just transparency and just keeping the people in the know. That's what they want to know. Not everybody can make our 3 o'clock meetings or our 5 o'clock meetings. I got friends that work third shift. My brother works third shift for the sheriff's department, you know? So it's just like, not everybody can make these things, but I think transparency is huge. So that's one of the initiatives that I hope that we keep, and core values, and I think that keeps leading the way for Frankfort. I think that we'll have a much better outcome if we're just open and honest with our constituents and just our neighbors, on just a very general level. Yeah. So that's the one that I would just take and encompass that question, because that's what I want from my local leaders. It always has been, which is kind of where my frustration stemmed from the past commissions, because I just feel like there was a lot of shady shit happening. I was like, there's some weird stuff happening. I ain't gonna read the comments on Facebook. I was even wanting to just approach them, be like, yo, what's up? You know, I think one time I messaged Kyle Thompson on Facebook, like, you want to have coffee? Because I feel like you all are not telling me what's really happening in these meetings, and you go over things very subsurface level, and not, I want to know deeper. I want to know what you know, if not more, because I voted for you. I paid my tax dollars for you to make the right answer or the right decision. So I think transparency is huge. I think I'm doing a pretty decent job. I'm not going to say great, because I drop the ball sometimes. I still work 40 hours a week. I still got a 3-year-old that can run super fast, and I'm like chasing him downtown. People are like, hey, economic development. I can't right now. I'm sorry. I will email you back in 3 days, you know? So I could do better in terms of communication and like following up quickly. But I try to give people the most open and honest answer that I can. I'll call the city manager. I'm like, Jason, I need an answer, and give me like the raw nitty-gritty answer. And he does a really great job of giving me what I need for me to formulate and to communicate back to the people that need an answer. So I'm as transparent as possible. I might drop a cuss word in the email because I'm like, damn, you know what? You're right. You're right, Melissa. But, you know, but I'm just being me. I'm being true to myself. And I want people to know that who they voted for is a regular person sitting up there. I'm as regular as it gets. But I will give you the most honest answer that I ever can. I think anybody in Frankfort's local level of government should continue looking at that core value and keep moving Frankfort forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's important, like from an accountability standpoint too, right? Like with transparency comes accountability. But another question that I have for you is, what were some of the what were some of the biggest challenges that some of the biggest challenges that you faced so far within your role as a city commissioner, and how do you plan to overcome them going forward?
Faced so far, twofold. I think one of the biggest challenges that I have faced, and it's gonna sound so kind of like, I guess kind of odd, is because I really am just a regular person. Like, going back to like, I do really work a lot. I don't want to say I'm a single mom, because Jordan is like the best child's father I could ever ask for, but we're not together, so we still have single households. So juggling the responsibility of being a city commissioner, and not just a city commissioner, you know, I got the mayor pro tem title, which is just a title. When I got elected, I was like, I'm vice mayor, and then I went to Kentucky League of Cities for like new elected officials academy, and they're like, just so you know, mayor pro tem is just a title. Like, there's really no weight behind it. It's kind of like the popularity vote, like in school. So I was like, all right, cool. I go to a couple ribbon cuttings at the mayor's out of town, but nothing crazy. So when I learned that part of it, it felt good to be like, oh, I can breathe. I'm just a city commissioner, like whatever. So I think just juggling and having balance and taking care of myself has been one of the biggest issue for me, or something to overcome. So it's just trying to find that balance and act of being a mom. And I'm a mom first and foremost. I will never take that. That will always trump anything. And I'm a black woman second. And that's a whole nother thing that we could probably peel back into layers. The weight of the world on black women's shoulders consistently. So always feeling super heavy in general. And then working. I gotta pay my bills. I think people actually just read on Frankfort Rants. Do not judge me, because I follow that page. I was reading on Frankfort Rants, somebody was like, you know, how much does the mayor make? How much does city commissioners make? And that is public knowledge. But honestly, it's very minuscule, honestly. I mean, like, it might take care of childcare, if that. And so that's me being transparent. You know, yeah, we get paid. but I still have to work a very, very rigorous 40+ hour job to pay my bills.
Right.
So all those responsibilities clumped into one. It's just a continuous juggling act. So that's been one of the biggest issues for me to overcome, is just trying to find that balance. I still like to hang out with my friends. I like to go to concerts. I like to do all the things.
As you should.
And it's great to be a city commissioner, but I still like to be Katima. And so it's like different hats that I have to put on at all times. So that's been really, really hard and intricate to navigate, but I have a great therapist. So shout out to you. Because without her, I don't know how I would do all these things. I have a great support system as well. I think the other side of that is, you know, when I was running, I had a lot of very controversial things to say about everything and everybody. And I still 10 toes stand behind everything I said. But I will say this. I have another thing that I've had to overcome is growth. It is like the largest pill to swallow when you like look at how you've said things or how things have affected people, and how some of the things that you say might have not been factual. So just kind of having to swallow that pill of like, okay, you've said this, you've done this. How can you grow to show that you're trying to learn more? So one of the largest things that I had to do was like, you know, if something ever happens to the chief of police, for instance, knock on wood, because he's cool. You know, the board of commissioners, you go through that process to bring on a new chief of police. I had to kind of take my lens of like, I had to grow up and put a new pair of glasses on. Because you have to kind of put some of your biases to the side when you hold a seat like this for the betterment of the community. So that's been really hard for me to do, because the things that I feel about the police are systematic and not necessarily toward the immediate police here in Frankfort.
Right.
So that's been kind of hard for me to do, because they're still the police. That's just how I look at it.
Right.
And then also that's just been really hard. I also, when I got elected, you know, people assumed that I was just like basically like replacing previous Commissioner Wooldridge's seat, and that was something that I really didn't want to be the narrative, because that's not the case. You know, I won my seat by myself, well, with my team first, my kid also, but then by myself. I put the legwork in, and so that was like also something that I had to overcome too, was trying like come out from behind somebody else's shadow, because that's not who I was. The things that person believes in is not what I believe in. So I had to work really hard to like kind of set my own narrative and tell people I am Katima. Yes, the first letter of our name start with a K, and yes, for both black women, but I am a totally different, I'm just a different person. And so that was hard for me it was actually a really huge battle internally for me. So just big pills to swallow really fast, but I'm drinking from a water hose at the same time, so it helped. It all went down. We're here, we're good. But just growth and trying to set the tone for myself, for Katima, because that's my leadership style is completely different from that previous person. So it was hard, but we did it, and we're here. I think everybody knows I am Katima. That person was that person, and I'm here now. So it's crappy in the scheme of things, but it is what it is. And that's those three really big, large issues that I had to kind of overcome. And so, you know, it's a never ending, growth is never really ending. You feel me? Like, you're always going to have to grow. If you're not growing, you're stagnant, you're part of the problem. So I did things like, I don't know, I joined the Citizens Police Academy. I graduated from that. I was really proud, actually, because I was like, boy, there were some things I was still like, there are issues.
Right.
That are not because of Frankfort PD, but because of larger things, you know. But I did it. I learned a lot, actually. I also thought that SVU units were just in New York City. I don't know why, but I mean, we have one here in Frankfort. They do a really good job, really hard job. The things that I learned about, I was like, that happens in Frankfort, you know, like, but we need people like that to know what they're doing,
right.
To, you know. So I learned a lot from that. I'm in the Citizens Fire Academy right now. This academy is way more physical than the police academy, so I'm learning a lot. I actually just climbed the staircase at K-State with the fire department for 9/11. So I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm doing these things not because it looks good or because you know, you can say that you did it. I'm doing it because I've learned a lot from both these academies, so I can pour back into my community in terms of the things that I'm learning. Because sometimes it feels good to hear from me than just a police officer or a fireman, anybody in public safety, to be honest. So I'm really just trying to get as much as I can to pour back into my community to help us all grow together.
Yeah.
That answers the question.
Yeah, you know, and I tell people this all the time too, right? So right now I'm 40.
Mm-hmm.
I did not have the mindset that you have at 28 or 29. And so I think a lot of people got to really take the time and ask themselves, what were they doing when they were 28 or 29? Not this, not what you're doing. So it's amazing. I mean, people got to give you some grace, and you got to give yourself some grace too.
Yes, I appreciate that. And I also think, I mean, to touch on that point, I don't know what's happening right now in the world. I honestly don't. I know we feel like we're all losing it, but something is happening, shifting, because when I ran for office, I can name you 4 people right now that is in my age scope that did it too. Now, some might have won, some might have lost, but I think we just want better representation right now, especially on a local level. Federally, I don't really watch the news on that level because it's just like shit's hitting the fan. And I got to worry about Frankfort right now, you know, like it's crazy. But locally, and like I said, I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. I was just talking to my mom yesterday about it, and she has a different viewpoint than me, of course. But I was like, she's like, nothing's ever going to change. But I was like, but you know what, I think locally you can make things move a little bit quicker than what, it just gets so convoluted the higher up you get. The checks get bigger, the checks for the campaigns get bigger. It's a different ball game. But locally, when you look at, the goal is tangible on a local level. So I just think people want representation on this level that makes sense, because I walk past you every day. I see you in Kroger. You know, we are on the same level of life almost at that point. So I just think people want, maybe not just because of my age, even just a black woman. Like, you know, I'm 29, I'm black, I'm also a single mom, single mom, however you want to put it. But I go through the same things that other women in my demographic are going through right now. You know, I get home every day, I take my shoes off, and I'm like, I'm scared to check the mailbox because I know FPV's in the bill, and I'm like, I'm stressed, you know? Like, I go through the same motions as people in my demographic right now. So I think people want to see that represented on a local governance level. So I'm really happy that I got to run with some really dope people. My friend Emma Curtis in Lexington, she's on the city council. Tyler Morton, city council. They're all on city council, and they're moving, and they're making. Sometimes, like, I can't watch everybody's meetings, but when I hear them talk, I'm like, all right, so we're all marching the same march and singing the same tune. So we could just keep this going, you know. I hope, my goal, and I'm not going to sit here and say, I'm going to run for office next year, because, hell, I might not. You know, I'm not going to lie. But I hope that some kid sees me that's maybe 18 in high school right now that wants to do something like this. You know, I try to go to, like, all things where, like, the high schoolers are, just be like, I wear regular clothes. I don't always dress up if I don't have to, because you can do it too. I want them to see this, because I want this to be like the catalyst to change for the younger people to have representation. So that's really my goal. I mean, it's fun. It gets a little hectic at times, but the future are our children. And if we don't make it look regular or make it look tangible, it won't happen. So, you know, I don't know. It's fun. It's all the things, but I just hope that it trickles down to the other generations. For sure. And you were talking about local governance. How do you think that the community can be more engaged in local governance and development? How can the community get more involved? I mean, of course I'm going to say come to a city commission meeting, but go to your fiscal court meetings. Go to your school board meetings. They're so boring, don't get me wrong. Like, I'll be a person that was like, oh, I'm just kidding. Cut that out. No. It definitely isn't, it don't look hot.
Right.
You know? So, ways to get involved. I do recommend somebody joining a board. There are a lot of things that you can do that align with your morals and your beliefs, or just like what piques your interest. You know, we got a Boys and Girls Club here in Frankfort. I think that would be a really great board for somebody young to want to join, because it's fun. You're around kids. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? You know, so like join things like that. Try to just tune into your city commission meetings. You know, I think it would be nice to, and this could be like a future initiative that maybe the city of Frankfort takes on, but taking your meetings and making it into a podcast so people can drive around and listen to what just happened the night before. You know, it's hard to pull up Facebook on your phone and answer your text messages and do all the things. So for today's highlight, I want to shed spotlight on a local organization focused on race relations, whose president is Christy Poe, founded by the late Ed Poe. Focus on Race Relations focuses on conversations around race and how we have a positive impact with these conversations. I encourage anybody to look on the PVA map to see like where your area is, when you go vote, where your precinct is, and like who your actual elected official is. That's number one. Two, if you don't want to reach out to people that are on that level, you know, getting involved, like joining boards, things as such. I'm not going to plug one without the other, but if you're younger and you're trying to get involved in government, there's a local Young Democrats, there's a Young Republican Party. Reach out to them if you want to get involved. So just doing those things. I actually had a couple, I know this girl from K-State named Leah. I met her at the fish fry last year, and she came up to me and she said, I'm in political science major. I'm like, me too. Don't ask me when I'm going to graduate, but we're in it together. And she came to a couple city commission meetings with me. My friend Cameron, I met him in LRC, just walking the hallway. He's young. I think he might be 18, 19. And he said he voted for me. And he said, what can I do to get involved? And he's joined a couple meetings. He's joined a couple of the executive committee meetings for the Democratic Party. So just honestly, it's not the community. It's how people like me can reach the community.
Yeah.
So that's just how I would answer that.
Yeah. So the final question is about your legacy. So going forward, what type of legacy do you want to leave that will make a positive impact on Frankfort?
It's a very complex question. What kind of legacy do I want to leave? Man, you know, I definitely want to leave a positive one. I want to leave a positive, a little spicy one. Why? Well, because, you know, I don't want people to think negatively about me. I also want you to think, you know, when you think about Katima, like if I died tomorrow, like what would people say about me? You know, I feel like that's a huge thing. What would people say about me? And I just would only hope that my legacy would leave a positive impact on the people of Frankfort, but then also really the generations like behind me. I do care about other people in the community, but I think that the kids, they need a fair chance at doing something like this. But if, going back to what I said earlier, if you don't make it look good, they're not going to want to do it. They're going to want to get involved in the total opposite things, which are not positive. So I would love just my legacy to just leave a positive impact on the generations before me. But also, you know, when you think about me, you think about that I was really intentional behind my decision making. It's hard to make really hard decisions or think about hard decisions when you're doing it with ill intent. I am such an intentional person. I lose sleep. You know, a really big topic right now in Frankfurt is solid waste. I have lost sleep over trash trucks. Crazy. You know, you would think it's not that big of a deal, but it is. These large purchases can affect the city this way or that way. But I'm so intentional behind why I might say yes or why I might say no. And so I think that's really big about me. I don't get up there and say yes or no because am I going to get cussed out on Facebook? Or are people just going to vote for me again because I'm easily swayed? So I want to be known for being intentional behind my decision making. But then also, I guess to like encompass everything is I'm really an honorable person. I don't want people to think that they can't approach me. I don't want it to be because, oh, she's the city commissioner or oh this or oh that. I just want to be known for being just that and being a mom. You know, I made it look, it's hard. I want to make it look easy because I want other moms to think that they can do this as well, because the decisions that we make up there every day affect everybody across Frankfort, Franklin County. So I want to leave a positive one. I want to leave one that people, you know, did she say these things? Yeah, she did. You could probably go look in the paper or go look on Facebook and say, yeah, she said those things. But you know what? 2 to 3 years, she did a lot of inner working, because that is really hard to do. To not do this for myself, but to do it for my community. I didn't do this. There are 1,000 things that I could be doing with my time right now, is what I'm saying. And I did this because I think I have a little bit of what it takes to have a positive impact on your community. Not a big one, but a little bit, because 2 years is a short time. Short time. But in terms of legacy, in my little short time, was my impact positive? I think so far it is. So I just want to just keep it moving, of course, and keep moving Frankfort forward as much as possible. But just doing what I can and keeping it looking spicy and good for the kids behind me, because they get bored easily. So
Right. They sure do.
I want them to be like, you know what? She's pretty cool. And so it actually feels pretty good to just hear a few of them say that when they see me out. So, you know, I love everybody in the community, but I specifically love the people that are about to turn 18 that can start voting, because they are the ones that's going to really keep moving Frankfort forward. You know, we're only going to be here so long. So, yeah, I just want to leave a positive impact. If I die tomorrow, and I think I'm doing an alright job. So, you know, we'll see.
Yeah.
I guess I won't see if something happens to me, but y'all will see. So,
You know what? You got, like I said before, give yourself some grace.
Thank
you're
you.
new to it. You're figuring things out, and I think anybody would. So it is what it is. As long as you're chipping away, using your intention and your purpose,
yeah,
that's all that matters.
for sure.
Yeah.
Agreed. Thank you so much.
But thank you.